Hey everyone, so yes, it is day 7 of distance learning, and if you made it to this video, then you have already clicked through an example on Google Slides of how to write an equation in slope-intercept form. So a very quick refresher, you should have already seen this on the slideshow. We talked about this a little bit in class at school, but slope-intercept form is actually a really useful equation to help us organize our information, and that's because it literally gives us the slope isolated and the y-intercept isolated. And I know we've heard of y equals mx plus b over and over again. So this equation y equals mx plus b, the two things that we need to replace are the m, which represents the slope, and the b, which represents the y-intercept. So in this case, the slope is how our graph is moving, right? Either in a positive direction, a negative direction, sometimes it's at 0. So that's our slope, that is our m value. And then b is our y-intercept. Where is our graph beginning? Where is that graph crossing the y-intercept? So if you made it this far in your Google Slides, then you have this example on the actual slide. And this means you chose to click this and follow along in this example in person, or not in person, but live rather than just clicking through your Google slide. So I have the exact same graph here that you have in your Google slideshow. And again, we're gonna go through those 3 main steps. The first thing we need to do in order to write an equation in slope-intercept form is to find the slope. So we've done this quite a few times so far. We talked about finding the slope from a graph, and that means we need to find 2 good points. There are several good ones here, but I'm just going to start with this and this. And so to find our slope, it is our rise, remember that's our m, over our run. And so our rise in this case was up 1 unit. Our run is over 1, 2, 3 units, and that is a positive 1 over 3, which makes sense. Our line is a positive slope, so our m is equal to 1 over 3. So we now know what our slope is, but that's not enough. It was slope-intercept form. So once we know what the slope is, right here in blue, we now need to figure out what our y-intercept is. And so our y-intercept is that vertical y-axis. So what we're really looking for is where our graph, our pink line, intersects our vertical y-axis. And that happens right here at this point. And that means our y-intercept, which we can use b to show, is at the point we went down to. So that's down at -2. So far, I know that m is equal to 1/3, or 1 over 3. b is equal to -2. And the only thing that's left to do is actually fill in your m and your b values. So if I were to write the equation in slope-intercept form, I would start out with y is equal to, but instead of m, I know that the slope of this line is 1/3. So I'm replacing m with 1 over 3. I keep my x variable there, because x and y is just going to represent the coordinates of all the points that exist on that line. So far all I've done is taken m out and I've plugged in the m that I found, which is 1 over 3. And the last thing I need to do is substitute in our value for b. And b, being our y-intercept, is down here at -2. So far we have y is equal to 1/3 x minus 2, since that's what b is. So we have just written the equation of this graph. So this equation right here matches this graph on our coordinate plane. So that is how you write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form from a graph.